What is up everyone, Prokhorovka here, and today I'm playing in the Crusader on Prokhorovka. And this is another one of the strategy videos, so I'm going to be going through what I'm thinking, why I'm going to the positions that I'm going to, more so than commentating on the gameplay. So, first position that I'm going to take from the south is around F6. I feel that this is a super important position, especially at high tiers, mainly because you need to secure this area to keep enemies on the other team from shooting the guys at your hill too easily, and that's what they try to do. So like from this position in the middle here, you have easy shots onto the top of the hill if you're not being contested by the enemies, but if they have enemies over there, then you can't get as many shots safely off onto the guys on the hill. So I'm going to start off here. It's not too great of a position for this particular deployment, mainly because there's no one on their team that really goes to the hill right away, and that's what this position is really strong for. So right now, looking at our team, we have a couple of guys in the middle here. A heavy camping back by the arty, a heavy camping back by the TDs, and two guys on the hill. So it's not looking too great in terms of where our team is deployed, so I need to try to help whichever flank needs help right away, because if I don't, then that flank will probably fall and we'll probably lose. So right now this KV-1 is out in the open. Looks like he's by himself, so we want to try to work on getting that guy out. And I ping the map a couple times because I don't really think many people can see him, or many people aren't shooting at him. So I did that, and two of our guys are going to rush over there. Now I'm not going to go over there myself. I'm going to sit here, wait, just to see, what else they get shot by. And while it might not seem like that's great team play, you have to think that your hit points are always more important than your team's, because you know what you can do. And if you can carry the game, or at least do better than an average player, then you need to make sure you stay alive. And if it's at the expense of someone else on your team, sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not. Now, that middle position became pretty useless pretty quick. If I stayed up there, those guys would have had more shots on the entirety of my tank because I was up on the hill a little more. So I decided to move down into this dip along the first ridge line here. I'm looking for shots at that T-150. Doesn't look like I'm going to get any. So I'm going to go ahead and move further in. Now, back to what I was saying earlier about using your team's hit points kind of like as additional hit points for you. I'm not saying camp in the back and just snipe the whole time while your team dies. That's not what you want to do. It's more so where you want your teammates to kind of feel out the map for you and check. This is very hard to explain. It's kind of like you want them to check where everything is for you without you actually having to do it yourselves. And if that means they're going to blindly go down a flank and get shot at by a bunch of stuff, at least you might have somewhat of an idea what's back there. So now that T-150 is dead and the SU-100 died, I'm going to head back over to my initial position to try to get shots on this SU-100Y. Looks like that VK handled him pretty quick, and since I got spotted, and there is arty on the enemy team, every time there's arty on the enemy team, if you're spotted, try to make your movements as unpredictable as possible. Back up, spin, go forward, back up real quick, turn around. That way, arty's going to have a really tough time judging where you're going to be at. Alright, once again, this T150, not T150, T1 Heavy is isolated, so I'm going to try to get some shots off on him and take him out. Now this KV-1S is dangerous because he's spotting for the enemy team, and our guys up here aren't looking too healthy, so I'm gonna decide to go in and try to take out this KV-1S. Now unfortunately that already took off some of my HP, so I'm not as comfortable as I would like to be in going and taking this KV-1S out, but I'm still gonna head up here and try to use some of the bushes between me and him to get some shots on him without really him seeing me too much. It looks like either he spotted me or someone else did. So now that I'm spotted and everyone on my team is dead over here, I'm going to use these houses to try to get some hard cover in between me and this KV-1S. And once I feel that I'm safe enough and behind, you know, enough layers of building, I'm going to turn around and leave. I did that because I don't really want that KV-1S to shoot me in the back, just in case he like immediately rushed me. So I just slowly backed up, wanted to see if I was protected enough to then run away. And it looks like he's gonna keep pushing across the 6 line based on his movements there. So I'm gonna set up in a position where I think he's gonna be. And you really want to do that a lot. You want to say, you know, where do you think this guy's gonna be? Because a lot of the times, you know, they don't have too many options. Like, sure, he could go all the way back to A1 and sit there, but is that really gonna happen? Probably not. So, you know, always think, where's this guy gonna be? Where can I get some shots on him if he shows up in that position? And there's that KV-1S. He went back to J7, you know, that's probably one of the 2 logical moves that he could have made. He could have pushed right through the middle there or tried to go and kill our artillery. So I do have some shots on him there. It's 560 meters away, so we're gonna try to get some shots off, but and there we go, set him on fire. So now we have me, a Hellcat, and an Arty. Me and the Hellcat are not healthy at all. We do have the Arty though. They also have an Arty, so we still have to be pretty careful about what we do. Now that KV-1S is dead, I'm free to move back over to this part of the map and kind of reclaim it, just in case any of the enemies, like the T-40 or the Wolverine, maybe they felt it was safe to move up around this side of the map since the KV-1S really had it in control. That's also another thing you want to think about, like whenever the enemy gains some map control, it's possible that they will, you know, become more aggressive or more willing to move up and take advanced positions if they know that their teammates have taken forward positions, like the KV-1S in J7. You know, maybe the Wolverine felt comfortable moving up to the hill or into like E7, but it doesn't look like he was over there. I shot a couple times, didn't get lit, didn't get shot at. So I'm going to move back over here and check the 1-2 line. I'm going to do a quick run real quick. I don't want to blindly go down the 1-2 line just yet, considering I don't know where that T-40 is. He hasn't been spotted all game. There he is. So since my Hellcat is in F6, I'm not going to kind of YOLO up near him. I'm just going to wait for the Hellcat to try to finish him off. And he gets him. So now that he's dead, and they only have 1 tank left and 1 Arty, this game could still be lost if we go in one at a time. So I'm going to move back over to the 6 line, and I don't really have any intent of pushing down the 6 line or using the east side of the map. What I wanted to do here was, since I was still spotted by that T-40 after he died, I wanted to make it look like I was driving, you know, to the east side of the map, so maybe the enemies would have expected me over there. And then once again, I'm going to turn back around. Now that I'm unspotted and the enemies have no idea where I am, I'm going to try to push down the 1-2 line. Now I can't go by myself because if I run into the Wolverine and the Artie gets a good shot off on me, then, you know, I'm dead. And then the Hellcat would move in. Same thing would probably happen to him. And then we'd lose. So I'm going to try to convince the Hellcat to come and roll with me down the 1-2 line. And it looks like he's turning around and is going to come over here. So what we're going to do once we group up with each other, you always want to do that if possible, you know. Push in a group, because if you're by yourself, you're going to get focused down and you're going to get dead. So, you know, always make sure you're in pairs if you're doing anything aggressive, or more than 2 people is always nice, you know, maybe like 5. You can do that too. So what we're going to do is get to the west side of this road. I don't want to drive on top of the road because, you know, you're up higher, shielded from, or not shielded rather, from the enemies if they're over on the 6th line, over at A5, A6, A7. So using the west side of the road, there's 2 lines of bushes and trees in between us and the enemy if they're on the east side. And you just want to use bushes as much as possible. Bushes and terrain features, you know, when you're moving flanks, just so you're the most protected at all times. And even if they were camping back at A3, there's still a lot of bushes in their line of sight that would have protected us from them. So now that we're up here, I'm going a little wide, checking to see if the Artie or the TD is over in A1. Doesn't look like they are. So now I'm going to head straight down the A line and go into their base. I do spot the Wolverine on my approach. I look for a shot, don't have one, not going to risk poking out. And I'm not going to sit back there either. I'm going to move up to this house, just because if the Artie is in A6, where I think he is, he's not really going to have shots on me right here. He doesn't have that good of an arc to get his shell over this house and then hit me. You saw I was hesitating a little bit there. I just wanted to make sure, or at least, you know, delay my attack so the Artie didn't. He probably was prepared for me to push right out there when I was after the Wolverine died. So the M41 is right there, and I'm just gonna circle around him and take him out. So the biggest things to take away from this replay is that you want to make use of bushes and terrain features as much as you can to stay safe from the enemy, whether it be safe from their like vision or actually their shells hitting you. And you want to try to kind of trick the enemy into thinking you might be going one flank when you're actually not planning on going over there at all. And how you do this is once you're spotted and like you're kind of safe, you can just drive in one direction, try to make it seem like you're going to continue over that way, and then once you're unspotted, it usually takes about 8 seconds for you to drop spot. You can turn around, you know, go wherever you want, and hopefully the enemy is still thinking that you're driving in that same direction. And the biggest thing that you want to do in every game that there's Artie, once you're spotted, just wiggle, like all over the place. I mean, you know, back up, forward, spin around, drive in really weird patterns, you know, to make sure the Artie has a tough time hitting you. And that's every time you're spotted, just to try to increase your chances of surviving. I didn't do that at one part of the replay, and then Artie got me shot. So maybe if I was wiggling, I would have avoided that shell, and I could have been more aggressive. But anyways, guys, if you've enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe. I'll see you next time.